All right, guys, we'll go ahead and get started. So first off, welcome to our AAR meeting. We've had so far 16 runs since 0600, so we'll try and get this going as best as possible. Big thanks to our mutual aid partners. So we've got Springdale, Sharonville, Deerfield, Mason, and Fairfield all on, along with some guys off duty. We also have a representative from 7Com in the room here. So thank you all for tuning in. For those of you that haven't been part of our AAR process before, we try to critique any major incidents. With me in this new role, there'll be some tweaks to this, but this was obviously a 3-alarm fire that occurred earlier in the month. And so we're going to go through this. We are recording, so for any members that are off duty and for our mutual aid partners, we can send this out to you with no problem. We want to try to suspend rank as best as possible. We'll have some discussions on what went well, what we can improve on. Again, just like our EMS QIC process that we do in-house, it's not meant to derail or do anything like, as far as negative remarks. This isn't directed at anybody, but we do want to suspend rank and bring up any points that need to be made, right? So the only way that we get better is having brave and bold conversations. So with that being said, we'll go through this. If there's something that you want to bring up or something that we feel we need to do a deeper dive into, by all means, let's do that. Okay. So going forward, again, this was our building fire on May 2nd. We're going to listen to the 911 calls first. So here we go. All right, so that was one of 11 911 calls, so 8236 Median Street.
Hey, just so you know, we're not hearing that at the outlying stations.
Oh, cool.
Yep, not at all.
All right, well, let's try it this way. Stand by one. Yes, did you hear that, Jake?
Nope. Negative.
Try this one. You hear that?
Nope.
Audio's not. That's kind of a bummer. All right, give me 1 second. All right, let's try this again. Can people hear that?
Nope.
Oh, come on.
Okay, where's the fire?
Here's our first 911 call.
Mr. 911.
First person.
Yes. Okay, what's on fire?
The building's on fire. A tree, something is on fire. I don't know. I don't want to go.
Okay, what's the address that's on fire?
Oh my God, I think the building's on fire.
Ma'am, what is this address?
8236 Meter Street. Oh my God.
Okay, all right, let's get everybody out of the building and we're gonna get the fire department started over there.
All right, so that was our first 911 call to 8236 Meeting Street.
911, what's the location of your emergency?
Hey, there's fire.
Okay, where's the fire?
8197 Meeting Street, Westchester Township.
Okay, what's the address?
8197 Meeting Street, Westchester
Okay,
Township.
tell me what is on fire. What is on fire?
Where is, like,
What's on fire?
6903. It's in the
What's
third floor.
Is it an apartment?
Yeah, it's apartment.
So you can kind of hear that one. Here's the third one.
Westchester 911, where's emergency?
It's actually going to be a fire. I see it. I live in Lakota Lakes, and it's behind. It's over.
Okay, it's where?
It's like I forget the neighborhood that's next to us, but there's a huge fire. What is
When you
the
say-
neighborhood? It's right next to Lakota Lakes.
Okay, another apartment complex or is it actually a residential area?
It's like residential. It's like the station. There's like a complex.
Okay, what is it that you see it's on fire?
I mean, it is. It's like behind our.
Okay,
apartment.
I just need to know what it is that you're seeing on fire is what I'm asking.
It
I'm
looks
sorry.
like trees,
Okay.
and it's gotten bigger. Like I noticed smoke, and now it's like flames.
So that's 3 of 11 phone calls that came in. So those are 3 different 911 calls with 3 different addresses, which means do we have 3 fires going at once, which in this wacky township, not out of the ordinary. And then also we're trying to pinpoint the exact location. I bring that up because with only having 3 dispatchers in 7Com, right? Sometimes we can get a little testy on the radio. So understand that they're trying to field all of these 911 calls at the same time dispatch our units, at the same time dispatch our PD units, and all this just keeps happening, right? So when we're not getting timely information back, this is why. They're being inundated with phone calls, especially at a multi-family residential complex. So just understand that's how our comm system works, and that's just the reality of it, right? So we want to highlight that. And also just give a shout out to 7Com for being able to process all this, right? So having all these phone calls coming in all at once and then get our units out correctly is absolutely a top-notch job. So great job for them.
Westchester 911, where's emergency?
It's actually.
So Union Station Apartments or Founders Row, where the actually address was 6903 Founders Row. So not any of those addresses that were even listed. It was built in the 1970s. It's type 5 construction. They used to be luxury apartments. So those luxury apartments have steadily declined. There's been multiple maintenance issues. We've burned 4 of these buildings so far in my career. They have a common attic space. But what makes them unique as far as apartments go is that there's multiple different floor plans. There on the second floor of some of them, there's actually 2-story apartments accessed via the second floor. So the second and third floor is actually a 2-story condo that you can't access the third floor from. Very, very goofy designs, probably the worst buildings we could pick to stretch a hose line on. And of course, that's, Murphy's Law, how that's gonna happen. So these are the assignments that came out right here. So you can kind of see those right there. Just remember that we get 5 engines, 3 ladders, 3 medic units, and our IMAT on our assignment, which was filled out correctly. Medic 71 was coming from the hospital, which again, go figure. And this is why we've been steadily implementing the blue card size up modeling, because it might not be a fire officer first on scene. In this case, it was Medic 71. Quickly progress to a second alarm, and we'll listen to our radio traffic here in just a little bit. So that brought in Mason, Fairfield Township, Evendale, and Springdale, along with District 90. And then later on, it turned into a third alarm, which started getting pretty deep in our run card. So you're not seeing weird things, you're seeing Cincinnati. Sorry, 1 second. Dealing with a second emergency right now, so. So you're seeing Cincinnati there on the run card, and people are like, well, what brought them? Well, where ladder 2 is Carthage. It's really only about 15, 16 minutes down the highway from us, so that's why they are on our third alarm run card. The amazing thing is they'll actually show up, so I kind of debated if I was a Cincinnati firefighter and heard those runs kick off to Westchester, I probably wouldn't respond, because that's gotta be fake. But it turns out it's real, and they will show up and do work for you. We also got Medic 13 from Blue Ash, and that also triggered Medic 90 as well. So this is the fire apartment. So down here in kind of the bottom of the screen, this is where the fire was, and actually this part of the building was what was burning as well. So you have Meeting Street that comes down. This is Cincinnati Dayton Road here to the right side of your screen. And then Founders Row is a side street that kind of goes around the back side. To the left is the big lake. And this Meeting Street there's 2 entrances into this. This is like a horseshoe shape. Kind of a bigger zoomed out version. Again, the fire building right here where my cursor is. And you can see how Meeting Street goes around that lake, and Founders Road takes a smaller horseshoe towards the south side of the complex. Again, depending on where we're at, we have very limited access. We have just kind of like just a lot of problems with this facility, right? There's gates, fortunately the gates are open. This is a well hydranted area, but each one of these apartments is jam packed as far as the parking lot's concerned and the time of day. So this isn't, when you're looking at the unit times, this is the time of day. So this is just after midnight, so 18 hours. It didn't take us 18 minutes to get out the door. So that's the time of day. So you can see when they started responding. So what that breaks down to is we talk about our turnout times, right? So the faster we can get out the door and on the road, the bigger difference we can make. So engine 71 was out the door in 124. Engine 74 was out in 39 seconds. So they would be the winner, except Medic 71 clearing the hospital had about a 1 second in route time because they see it hit the MDT. We'll talk about here Medic 74 with a 2 minute and 37 in route time. So and ladder 75 being unknown. The unknown is because we don't know if the CAD didn't take that data or did they forget to hit the button. Sure. This is just pulled from Fire RMS, our reporting software. I know that I was having issues, and I was the company officer in engine 71. I was having issues as I entered the complex hitting on scene. It just would not take it. So that could be the same issue we were having with that many units. Is this a server issue? We just don't know that data. Not a big deal, but it is something that we just couldn't capture. So we'll go to the other side with the 237. Really, in this instance, pretty kind of unacceptable, right? So we have a policy, right, which you'll be responding within 2 minutes. Now we understand it's midnight. You're getting out of bed, you're getting to the truck. However, if we're being toned out to a working fire in an apartment complex, and you got to go and find your stuff and lackadaisically walk to the squad or get your gear on and this and that, we probably should be moving with a little bit of more breakneck purpose here, even if this isn't your first 2 district, right? So we should practice how we play. We really should be pushing the envelope as far as our response times, especially when every other unit here was able to accomplish that. So those are just some highlights there. And again, maybe you did, and maybe you forgot to hit the en route button as you're halfway down the street. This is the only way we can pull this data, all right? So our on-scene time. So we got there at 00:22:45. And again, our MDC froze and did not capture the time. So I pulled that, basically judged that time about 16 seconds before ladder 75. As we came down the block, we saw them. So that's how we judged that time. Ladder 75, again on scene, 00:23:08. And then from parking brake estimated to water on fire was 3 minutes and 32 seconds. So, this is another opportunity to park here and kind of talk about our water on fire standard. For me, as the company officer in Engine 71 and getting that first water on fire, 332 is pretty unacceptable, in my opinion, and I'll have to eat that one. So again, as we go through this, we're gonna talk about some really positive things, but we also need to talk about the negative things. And we'll talk about kind of why this happened as this unfolds. We can look at this incident from a lot of different facets. But 332 is unacceptable. Our standard really is 90 seconds. And really, you can do this in 60 seconds. Where we positioned and with our cross lay layout and how our hose loads are, there's zero reason why we shouldn't have water on that fire within 60 seconds.
Can I speak for Engelbert since he's not here? Or you got another time for that?
We got enough time for that. So we'll talk about kind of how this all happened. At the end of the day, we were able to work through this, but any delay in water on fire is more structural compromise and more life safety issue. So as company officers, what I would encourage you to do is, hey man, let's do some drills, right? So a simple pre-connect stretch, which was our initial thing here, put a stopwatch to it, right? How long does it take you to stretch that line and get water into it, right? And if it's 332, well, we probably got some work to do. If it's 58 seconds, probably good. And even if it's 102, 104, 105, we're probably good, right? But if it's taken this long, that would be a problem, right? So we'll talk about our initial size up. And that was firefighter medic Helwig, and he was first on the scene. So his size up, we'll listen to the radio report here in just a moment, was absolutely cool, calm, and collected. He had flames showing from a large 3-story residential apartment. Firefighter Helwig's had practice with this because his last 2 or 3 alarm fire was Hopewell Junior School, and he was also first on the scene of that. So he's in the room right now. Do you want to talk about your size up or kind of give us a rundown of what you saw? And
No, so we were clearing a run at 72 district that popped off. So we were responding from Sunday and Westchester Road. We saw the header, crossing of the highway. So we knew we had something good going on. Easy to spot when we turned in. So it's just a lot of fire showing. I remember, I think the second, third story, the tree up front was on fire, so I couldn't get a good look at the roof. I couldn't tell if it was a roof too, but it wasn't.
yeah. So again, right, a medic unit pulling up, right? So I'll just kind of ask you, like as a medic unit pulling up, what were your kind of initial concerns? What were your feelings, right? Because the thing we need is a fire truck with a lot of water, and that ain't here.
Yeah.
So kind of give, if you could, not to throw you on the spot, but could you give us like an incident action plan? Like what did your first minute look like?
So when we got there, my initial thoughts were, where are the residents? Are the people still inside? Nothing I can do about it now. Something I wish I would have done was think about where a hydrant is for you guys, the first dude coming in, because so it'd be one less thing for you guys to think about, right? So I did that in the Hopewell one. If I could have spotted that hydrant, that could have been, quicker for you guys to get there, get water on that fire. But yeah, not being the first dude medic for a minute, 2 minutes, like you feel pretty helpless with it. So
Yeah.
I think gathering information to relay to oncoming crews is important. It's something I could have done better.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And again, I think you did a terrific job with this. Collecting that information, setting the scene in that first 60 seconds is so valuable, right? Because there's a lot going on with this, right? This is a major fire with entrapment, which was how it was reported. We'll show you some body cam just so everyone kind of sees the fire that we're talking about. We had on arrival here in just a moment, but absolutely a great job. This is about 20 seconds after we arrived. So this was a photo that was taken on scene. This is the tree that was on fire. That tree is 3 stories tall. So that's easily 36 to 40 feet tall. Flames through the roof up here, flames all the way through here. Just so you guys understand, the door's right here. So the main door to the fire, the apartments, there's one on the Alpha and one on the Charlie. This is kind of an L-shaped building, where in the crotch of that L is where the front doors are. And that's where it's at, right? So any resident in there is having to go past fire to exit, or they're going out the Charlie side. So this is, again, about 20 seconds after arrival. So we're gonna listen to a little bit of radio traffic here. We'll just go for a little bit and so you can kind of hear kind of what we had going on.
Structure fire. Units in the dispatch. Structure fire. 8236 Meeting Street. 8236 Meeting Street. Showing cross streets of Founders Row. ESZ at 103. Timeout 0017. Utilize fire ground 8.
That's how you sound.
Medic 71
That's
clear.
how you sound on the radio.
At Dane Westchester Road. Show us responding to the Meeting Street structure fire. Medic 71, you're clearing out 0017. Medic 71, can you repeat fire ground, please? Fire ground 8. Fire ground 8. Medic 75 responding. 71's around fire ground 8. Engine 71 clearing out.
Engine 74 responding. Fire ground 8.
Engine 74 clearing out.
Engine 72's en route.
Engine 72 clearing out.
Battalion 70, I'm en route, clear on fire ground 8.
Battalion 70 clearing out. Medic 74 is responding. Medic 74 clearing out.
Telecom Chief 71. Chief 71's en route, clear on fire ground 8.
Chief 71 clearing route. 0020. Medic 71 on scene. Medic 71 clear on scene. Just information, they're out advising 6903 Founders Road, 6903 Founders Row. Officer on scene advised possible 2 stories on fire.
Awesome.
Medic 71's on scene. We have flames showing on a large 3-story residential apartment building on the alpha side. 71 will have command on fire ground 8.
Medic 71, command 71. Spot was plug on first due. Scratch that, ladder 75. Nope, we're going to be first. Spot was plug.
Battalion 77, com.
Battalion 70, go ahead.
Go ahead and start a second alarm, please.
Battalion 70 clear.
Engine 71's on the scene.
Engine 71 clear on scene.
Battalion 70, I'm on scene.
Battalion 70 clear on scene.
Battalion 70, I'm on scene. I'll go ahead and assume command from medic. I got, looks like 3 floors, the deck on fire. Engine 71, you guys are going to team up with ladder 75, start fire attack. Let's start knocking that down right away.
Battalion 70, we're pulling 1 cross lane now for transitional attack. I'm getting 360.
Okay, I'm clear. Ladder 75, you might want to go ahead and set up your ladder pipe real quick, knock that down.
Medic 75 clear on scene. 0023.
Command Engine 71. 360 complete. PD starting to clear the building. I got nobody on balconies. We're starting a fire attack right now.
Okay, you're clear. She's edges around.
She's 72 clearing out.
Battalion 77, calm. Mark water on the fire.
Clear water on the fire.
Commander 71.
Go ahead.
75 is taking over the exterior line, especially the apartment load to the south side.
Okay, you're clear. 75 is going to continue with that line. You're going to stretch the apartment load into that alpha side, get in interior. You're going to have to get up to that 3rd floor pretty quickly because it looks like it's getting into the attic.
Yep.
Who's my next in engine company?
Engine 112 is approaching right now.
112, bring a line from a hydrant in, supply ladder 75. They're going to start hitting it with their master stream real quick to knock it down.
Medic 71, transporting.
Command engine 71, you're going to take that line to the 3rd floor, correct? Okay, you're clear. Ladder 75, as soon as you continue to knock that down, get in there and help them out. We need to make sure we get in there and get this in the attic.
Engine 72, level 1.
She's 70 around to Main Street. 72, come on in here with 112. You guys get a second line to the 3rd floor as well. Start getting into that attic space.
She's 70 clear now.
112 copies, second line. 3rd floor, get into the attic space.
Medic 74 clear on scene. 0027.
Engine 71 to command.
Okay, command with an update on the fire conditions. We look like we have it knocked down for the most part on the decks. We still have heavy fire on the 3rd floor and into the attic space. I got engine 71 and ladder 75, engine 112 and engine 72 stretching lines to the 3rd floor to knock that down. Who's my next in-engine company?
Tower 73 is up there.
71 operator, give me water on the apartment line.
Engine 74 is level 1.
Engine 74 on scene.
Tower 73 level 1. Engine 74 clear on scene. Medic 74 is level 1.
Medic 74, park your vehicle out of the way. You guys are my EMS unit. Start bringing your supplies up here for that.
That's clear.
Tower 73, see if you can make your way in. Set up for best advantage in here. I don't know if you'll be able to make it around. Oh, I see you now. I need your crew to get a line onto the 2nd floor. Tower 73, you're going to be 2nd floor. Get a line to the 2nd floor and make sure we got an all clear on that 2nd floor.
Command engine 71.
Engine 71, go ahead.
We need the 3rd floor fire department. Ladder 75 is starting to search on Division 3. I'm starting the primary and the main fire occupancy. We're going to go knock down the fire right now.
Okay. 71, I can see your flashlights up there. You still have heavy fire above you in the attic space. I see you got the fire knocked down in that attic, or in that apartment, but you got heavy fire in that attic space.
Copy.
Ladder 75, I copied your search in that 3rd floor. Let me know when you got it all clear on the 3rd floor.
7-com, Chief 71. Chief 71's on scene.
Chief 71 clear on scene, 0030.
Water's coming to the tower to supply.
Command, Chief 71. Chief 71's level 1. Command, Chief 71, you're clear level 1. You can come to command post, be my aide.
Chief 71 copies. ICA.
Command from engine 74. G copy us level 1.
7-com, Chief 71.
Okay, command engine 74. If you can get another hydrant to get in here somewhat close,
Chief 71.
I'm going to have you take the 1st floor.
Chief 71, go ahead.
Chief 71, staging area for 2nd alarm companies will be meeting in Fountains Boulevard.
Okay, you're clear.
Command to engine 71. You have pretty good fire growing back up above you.
71's okay. Still making progress. I got an all clear in the fire apartment that we're in.
Okay, you're clear on all clear in the fire apartment you're in.
Chief 72 is approaching level 1.
Chief 72, when you get here, I'm going to have you take Division 3. You have engine 71, ladder 75, engine 112, and engine 72, all on Division 3.
Division 3 with 4 different units.
This is the command. We're going to be advancing our attack line up the back stairwell opposite of the first crew in.
Okay, you're clear. Just make sure you work with them up on that 3rd floor. You guys are going to be assigned to Chief 71 or Chief 72 when he gets here.
NJ6 level 1.
Medic 71.
What was that unit in level 1?
Queen 86 level 1.
Queen 86, bring your people up close. You guys are going to be my first on deck crew.
Queen 86 clear on deck.
Battalion 110 level 1. Battalion 110, was that you?
Chief 71 scene.
Chief 70 clear on scene, 0030.
Battalion 110, I need you to take 2nd floor. I have fire starting to grow back up on that 2nd floor. Tower 73, I got fire on the 2nd floor. Balcony look like it's growing again. Command to Division 3, or Engine 71, looks like you got a really good knock on it. However, I still have some in the attic space.
That's clear. It's still in the stateroom. I need one more crew here to help pull the line up, and then we should be able to have it. I'm pulling ceilings now.
Do you have eyes on the active fire?
Affirmative, we're right below it. Putting water on it now.
District 86 level 1.
District 86, make your way up here. I'm going to have you Division 1 on the 1st floor.
District 86 clear Division 1 1st floor.
Cross Street of Dudley.
Clear field entry 56 level 1.
Engine 56, make your way up here. You're gonna be my second standby crew.
Okay. Medic 112 is
This
listening.
may be the same subject
Medic
as the earlier
112.
list. Do you want them to continue?
You're clear. Make your way up here. You're gonna hook up with Medic 74 and stand by for EMS.
Engine 72 to operate the ladder 35. We need that second line car. Engine 72. Ladder 75 operator. We need that second line charge on the third floor.
Ladder 75, did you hear that? Charge that second line that engine 72 has. Command engine 71, do you see that fire coming from the chimney area?
Engine 71 affirmative. We got it opened up on either side of it. It looks like the fire's on the Charlie and Alpha side. We're just having a hard time making access.
Okay, also, if you look directly behind you, you have some in that attic space directly behind you. Looks like it's working towards the Bravo side of the attic space.
Division 3 is in place with engine 71, engine 112. Give me my other units.
Command Tower 113, level 1 at South Meeting Street.
Okay, I'm clear on Division 3. You're in place with 112, 72, 71, and 75. I'm going to you for the third floor.
Copy.
Command Tower 113, level 1 at Meeting at South.
911's in place, Division 2. Who are my company?
Right now you have Tower 73 on Division 2.
Copy 73, I'm through.
Engine 72 to command. Ladder 75 is still not fed up with water on the third floor.
Okay, you're clear. Chief Prince, can you check with Ladder 75, get water to that second line that goes to the third floor?
We got two lines operating on the third floor. However, engine 71's ready to come out and recycle on air. We have a good knockdown on the third floor.
Okay, you're clear. Report to Division 3. Division 3, I'm going to send you Queen 86. Queen 86, report to Division 3. Engine 71's coming out.
Engine 3, copy. Engine 71 out. Queen 86. And go ahead and send me one more on that crew.
Division 3, repeat that.
Send me an additional on-deck crew as well. Put them on the landing.
Okay, you're clear. Tower 113, respond to the landing. You're an on-deck crew for Division 3. Command of Division 3, you have fire still in that chimney, and you have fire working towards the Bravo side a little bit, directly above that, or that a fire apartment that you're in.
Engine 90, level 1.
Medic 90, level 1.
District 86 in place. Division 1. What companies do I have?
Division 1, you have Engine 74 assigned to you. Let me know if you need anything else.
Super, thank you.
Command from Engine 74.
Engine 74, go ahead.
Okay, we were delayed with our supply. It's ready to go if you need it, but we have yet to commit to the first floor.
Okay, just make your way on up here and report to Division 86.
Division 3, command.
Division 3, go ahead.
I need Queen 86 to bring hooks. I need the on-deck crew to bring light bulbs. Then I need the second on-deck crew now.
Okay, all I got from that is you need the on-deck crew to bring something. I can't make out what you're asking.
Command Engine 71's on the Alpha side, recycling.
Engine 71, I'm clear on your recycling. Let me know when you're ready to go back in.
Clear.
District 40 and Engine 40, level 1.
Engine 90, level 1. 92 is level 1.
Engine 93, level 1. District 90, level 1.
Command Engine 71.
Engine 71, go ahead.
All right, looks like the fire is contained to the Alpha side. If we can clear guys out of that third floor of the hallway, we can hit it from the exterior because one line charged to the Alpha side exterior.
Ladder 75, do you have another line available that you can knock that down from the exterior? District 90, make your way to the command post. I'm going to have you be my aide.
Command from Division 3.
Division 3, go ahead.
I need all the companies that you send to the third floor to bring pipe poles with them to pull the ceiling. I also need another on-deck crew, and that crew coming up needs to bring a backup line.
Okay, you're clear. Engine 56, I'm going to assign you to Division 3. Tower 113, make sure you take pike poles up with you. Engine 56, I need you to bring an additional line to the third floor.
Engine 56, clear on Division 3, additional line. Chief, this chimney looks like it's starting to lean.
Okay, you're clear. Command Division 3, let's back you guys out of there and hit this with the master. You're getting it right now.
Okay, yeah, they're opening up different parts of the ceiling now so we can get these fires. Is that chimney they're worried about, one of the wooden ones?
Yeah, where you just hit it right there, that's what we're worried about. But if you got eyes on it, let me know. Command Division 2, you have fire on that balcony again. Make sure you get a line on that.
Copy that, Command. I don't have a line on the second floor. They're all on third. Command from Charlie.
Charlie, go ahead.
Command Charlie in place. 720 complete. Nothing showing from the Charlie side. We did have a little fire in the roof line. Nothing showing at this time. Break.
Go ahead.
I don't know if you've made a request. We'll need Duke Electric on the Charlie side.
Okay, you're clear. Engine 90, I need you to establish Rick with my medic crew, Medic 71. They have IRIC.
Engine 71.
71, go ahead.
We're recycled. I want to pull the bumper line from 75, hit that second floor balcony and this alpha side east line from the exterior, and then we're ready for reassignment.
Okay, yeah, I'm good with that. If you can get that taken care of real quick.
Battalion 30's level 1.
Division 3, go ahead.
Division 3, ladder 75 coming out to recycle.
Clear on ladder 75 coming out to recycle.
Division 1, clear on the first floor, no extension. You can reassign Engine 74 at your need.
Okay, you're clear. Engine 74, if you can get a line to the second floor. Now I'll reassign you to Division 2. Division 2, I'm sending you Engine 74.
Command Division Charlie.
Charlie, go ahead.
Command Division Charlie, I'm starting to have smoke pushing from the ridge cap on the Charlie side. I don't know what apartment that is. It's going to be the apartment on the third floor Charlie side.
Okay, you're reporting fire pushing out of the Charlie side in the attic space again?
71 to command.
Go ahead.
Lines in place. Let's make sure that Division 2 and Division 3 are clear as we start flowing this.
Okay, Division 3, we're going to bring all of you out right now. That chimney's leaning right now. Let's evacuate the structure. Ladder 75, as soon as they evacuate, have your ladder pipe ready. Let's knock this down. That chimney's leaning. I don't want it to collapse on you guys on Division 3.
32, level 1.
Command to 7, com.
Division 3, everybody.
Command Division 3, I can't make out your traffic, but I'm ordering you out of the building. All units out of the building.
Division 3 copy. We're coming out of the building. Are you okay to go to the second floor, or do you want us all the way out?
Let's bring you all the way out. We got an all clear on the third
75, you guys
floor.
on the scene.
Command Division 2, do you have an all clear on the second floor?
Affirmative, all clear on the second.
Command Division 1, do you have an all clear on the first floor?
Division 1 has an all clear on the first floor.
Okay, all units come out of the structure. Ladder 75, get your ladder pipe ready to knock this down as soon as everybody's out of the structure.
75, that's Engine 71.
Command from Battalion 56.
Battalion 56, go ahead.
Need a medic unit down by the entrance for a occupant complaint of smoke inhalation. Do you have one available?
G70.
Yes. Medic 74. Respond to the entrance for an occupant with smoke inhalation.
G70.
Sound the alert tone on the fire ground 8 and with orders to evacuate the structure. Man, Engine 71.
71, go ahead.
knockdown on the Division 2 closet, knockdown on the Division 3 roof line from the exterior. And if I didn't report it, we had a primary all clear in the main fire apartment.
Yes, I have an all clear on all 3 floors. I just need everyone out of the building. Ladder 75, get your ladder pipe ready to hit that in the attic space. Tower 73, also have your ladder ready on the Charlie side.
All units evacuate the structure 0049.
75. So we'll go ahead and kind of stop it there. We have a little bit of body cam.
Can I get medic unit at this location, please?
You're clear.
Hopefully you guys can see that.
Lift assist, medic 74, lift assist, 7759, unit.
Turn around and go out of here, okay? You need to get out of here. Turn around and go. Come on, move. Get your car and move. Let's go. Stop. Go that way. You can't go that way. Turn around and go that way.
Staging area. Let's keep everybody over here for now. As soon as this guy clears out. Everybody get out of here. Keep down, everybody.
So we'll switch to, back stuff, Charlie. Yeah, our officer's clearing it. So you can see the header in front of his cruiser.
Medic 71 on the scene.
So again, pre-arrival, second floor on fire, third floor, and you can kind of see right here being the front door. So this is obviously our, first person on the scene, being a police officer with drop down, impacting evacuation routes for any people inside, right? So there again is that tree that's on fire.
It's right across from the Union Station building.
I think there is a people inside also.
Okay.
Inside also. We're starting from the second floor.
41, I'm being advised there's still people inside.
I think, I don't know.
All right, can I get everybody back?
Okay.
Sir. I need everybody to just get back, okay? I need everybody to get further back for me, okay? Just stay back. I need you to stay back, okay? That's what they're saying on the second floor. We can't get in there. Can we just make sure we stay back, okay?
tell with Medic 71, there was our first fire unit on scene. Again, this apartment complex being fairly low income. A lot of different languages spoken here, not only Spanish, which you would expect, but also a lot of
Is everybody?
Uzbek. So we have a lot of people from Uzbekistan that live here, also Russian, Pashtun. So it's not just a one culture here. It's
Police department, if you're not out of your house, let's get out. There's a fire.
Anyone on balconies?
No, not that I'm seeing.
All right. I'm gonna start knocking on doors down here. Start getting people out.
The second floor that was actively on fire over there, they're saying there were still people in.
Hey, get out of your apartment. Get out.
Get out.
Get everybody out.
Take right over the look. Hey, there's a fire. Everybody out.
Westchester Police.
Huh?
You everybody up here?
Yeah, they're aware.
We're clear here.
All right. They're coming.
Okay.
So she's waking everybody else up. Okay. Garages.
So you kind of see again what we had on arrival there, right? So quite a bit going on. So we'll turn it over to Chief Tully in the room as the incident commander on the scene, right? So want to share your thoughts and processes with it.
All right, so first thing about, I know these buildings are a pain in the butt. I know that if it gets into the attic space, it is extremely hard to get in front of and catch because the attic spaces to these buildings in particular are broken up. There's void spaces that are blocked. You can be pulling ceiling and not have anything directly above you, and 5 feet to your left, pull ceiling and it's fully involved. So I knew the second it gets into the attic, we're really going to be chasing it. My goal was in my mind, exactly what you guys did. You knocked it down to the point that if we had to get people out, we could get people out. And if we had to chase it in the attic, then we would until it wasn't safe anymore. And that's exactly what I was thinking in my head. You heard me mention the ladder pipe. I thought we could have used the ladder pipe, but obviously you saw I don't know if you saw it on here, but, 1 3/4 inch straight pipe put most of that fire out on the exterior pretty quickly. So the speed with which you get that out and ready to go, that puts a lot of water on that fire. So Trevor's right, we gotta work on speed. We can get, if there's one thing we can get better at, it's the speed of getting that line in service. I saw the crews go all the way upstairs. I saw them put the fire out in the 3rd floor from my vantage point. You hear me say, I can see you in there and you still have heavy fire above you. So I knew we were in trouble when it was in that attic space. But then it looked like you started to knock that down, but then it just kept growing in different spots. And then it finally got to the point, Chief 90 was there and him and I were discussing that attic or that chimney. And we finally made a decision like, look, we got everybody out of the building. We got all clears on all 3 floors. Let's just let the deck guns eat. And then we'll send people back in to mop it up at that point. So our life hazard was done. Really at that point, we're just we figure worst case, we'll burn the roof off, but we'll have the deck guns in place and knock it down. Now, there was some issues with getting Mason's Tower into there because some staff cars were parked in the way. We've talked about that before. Unfortunately, none chiefs are here right now, but I'm sure they would agree that, yeah, they parked in a bad spot. And I will tell you, that's where I realized the value of having not only an interior aid, but really I had 2 exterior aids. I had Battalion 56 and District 9 or 9002. They pretty much ran things on the exterior. I know you heard Battalion 56 mention they had a patient, and he was taking care of things like that. getting the medic unit to that patient. Because our medic unit initially was with one of our firefighters too, that got transported in as well. And then 9002, Chief Williams was very instrumental in getting the cars moved out of the way, getting the tower in there so that we had another master stream because we were having some issues with ladder 75's master stream. So that's very invaluable to have an extra aid that you use on the exterior, basically to just get things done if you need things done. So I was very appreciative of that. And it's just something I'm gonna keep on my mind because it was used. Once we made the decision to go defensive, we did set off the alert tones. I'm not a huge fan of that because you can hear the radio traffic as it begins with, and I just don't like missing radio traffic at that time, but I do understand that's our policy, so we did end up setting off those alert tones to make people evacuate. What you didn't hear, Trevor cut it off, is I also made sure that everybody was out of the building before we actually operated those master streams. And I made contact with every unit that was in there, and made sure they were out of the building. So we had good pars. And the other thing that I mentioned is I set up divisions of Alpha and Charlie, and I instructed them to make sure people were out of that collapse zone. There have been line of duty deaths where guys went defensive and walls collapsed. I think if you guys watch Facebook, they just had a close call yesterday of guys being defensive and a wall collapses. So obviously I didn't think the whole apartment would collapse, but I thought some stuff from the third floor was susceptible to collapsing, especially that chimney, which it did end up collapsing. So I'm glad that you guys were not up there in that third floor when that occurred. And then the plan kind of worked to perfection. We just decided, hey, once we get it knocked down to that point, then we can go in and mop it up, and that's what occurred. I did call for a third alarm with the idea that we might be chasing this up in the attic spaces even after the master stream knocks it down. We kind of got it knocked down pretty good right before the third alarm got there. But I decided to keep them coming and rest. You'll hear me if you listen to the radio traffic. You guys everyone that was there at that point had already been working. And I saw all the hose on the ground and I was like, you know what, all these guys are gonna have to clean that up. So I figured, hey, let's put the third alarm to work. We'll do one rotation of them overhauling and we'll send them on their way. You guys all take a break, and then pick up hose. And that kind of worked out good as well. So that's the benefit of calling those extra resources. If you have that opportunity to do it, that was my mindset. We were lucky to get that fire knocked down before the third alarm units got there, but we just utilized them for overhaul. You notice, and I've already discussed this with the lieutenant, but I assigned Tower 73 to Division 2. And they somehow accidentally ended up on Division 3. They just counted floors wrong as they went up there. And I'm sure Jake will get on and talk about it in a minute, but my mind thought, the process of that is you gotta have a line on each floor when you've had all these involved, and you can go to the Baltimore County line of duty death where they thought they had the fire out, and then the second floor ended up flashing on the guys on the third floor. So that's my mindset. Usually when I'm running command, I'm thinking of all the possible line of duty deaths that would apply to this fire. And I want to make sure that we don't do the things that happen in other line of duty deaths. So that's one thing. I didn't realize they weren't on the second floor. So, if you're not on the second floor or you realize you're not, I think, you heard Battalion 110 say Tower 73 is not on the second floor, but at that point we were pulling everybody out. So that was the first I had heard they weren't on the second floor. So as an incident commander in a building that big, I expect you to be where I assign you to be. And if you are not there, you realize you're not there, I gotta know that because that could drastically change my plan and who I send somewhere else. So luckily, we were able to adapt and overcome. We knocked that fire that rekindled back up on the second floor. But at that point, we're gonna start pulling people out anyway, so worked out. Obviously, there's always some things to work out, especially when you're bringing in that many units. I'll tell you from my standpoint, for the first 5 minutes, it seemed like we were alone, the 71s and 75s. And then all of a sudden it felt like 90 different units. All, because you'll hear them going into level 1, but I'm busy sending people to where they need to be. So I might have missed a few level 1s at first. So just keep that in mind that occurs, and I say that for me, I can't imagine how it felt for you once I kept saying, give me a second alarm and a third alarm, and I think you had problems with the run card, right? Trying to
The
pull
third
those.
alarm, we had issues with the third alarm, so we had to go manual to get the units in. on
Right.
The third alarm.
So I think that's all I got for right now.
So, one lens to view this incident through and kind of back to the very, very beginning of this. For all of our new people, every one of our critiques going back to 2012 is on the G drive and with radio traffic, body cams. So these are great training opportunities just to go back and look at things we've learned and how we've kind of come this far. But the lens to kind of view this through is a strategic shift. And we don't do this hardly ever because typically with aggressive interior attack and with a good offensive fire attack, we don't need to. But this was one where, hey, we were in literal fire combat, if you will, right? We're in a firefight to buy time to get searches cleared to do that strategic shift to a defensive posture. And that's okay, right? So that's one of the biggest things out of this incident that went so well was, hey, we're gonna be forward into a fairly bad spot. You can see the fire progression. You can see that, hey, we're making progress, but we're really not, right? You know, we're throwing water in every which direction and it's still not having as good of an impact as we want. So now it's a time as an incident commander to let's start backing everybody out. And that was 100% acceptable. We had our all clears done. We had aggressive search done. The only life hazard left in that building is now us. So to minimize that, let's pull us out, let's regroup, let's slow this way down and let's put it out. And I think that's a terrific way of going about it. So when it comes to stretching lines, we have to be good at stretching lines. And so kind of why, going back to why did it take us so long to get water on fire? And you might look at that, well, 330 is not that long. No, it's not. That's fast. There's a lot of companies that can't do that, but it's slow for us. So how do we get good at stretching lines? Stretch lines. What if I don't want to stretch lines today? Stretch them anyway, right? So it takes it's a 20-minute drill. What happened was, when we pulled up to this incident, I hopped off to go do the 360. My backstepman, he rides behind me facing the opposite direction. So unfortunately, with the setup of our rig, he doesn't have a good view of the incident, right? So, we're seated, we're belted, and I'll take my collar brass off for a second. Once you get into the apartment complex, undo your seatbelt and get ready to roll, right? So maybe even turn around and kind of get a glimpse of what you got. I always would roll my window down a little bit, get a smell, right? Because you can tell the smell of the fire. Didn't really need it on this one because we saw the header also crossing I-75. But as a backstepman, right, we don't really need to be sitting there waiting. We need to be getting our stuff on, bottle on, and everything ready to go for when that parking brake hits. That didn't quite exactly happen. The backstepman saw me take off to the right. What I was doing was getting a wide sweep to get a view of the balconies. He then assumed it must be the building on the right. So we're facing south, the fire's on our left, and we're sitting between two apartment buildings. He starts to pull our smoothbore line to the right. Now, why would he do that? Well, part of it is because the nozzle typically is aimed towards the right. So our white smoothbore line was aimed that way. That's his line, and that's the line we typically pull for interior fire attack. And so he started to pull that line as I'm off doing my 360. 100% the right line to pull. But we have flat loads for a reason. That flat load is designed to go cross body, meaning we can pull it to the right or we can pull it to the left. What should have happened, what he should have done, is go around to that left side, pull the white line towards the fire. Instead, he started to pull it around the truck. And what happens when you do that is we lose hose line, right? We have a 200-foot pre-connect, and now we've eaten up 50 feet of that line just going around the truck. And also, there's a chance now that hose kicks under a tire. That's a kink point. That can be a lot of a problem when we're trying to get positive water. So, what do we do then when that happens? Well, he did exactly the right thing. So the engine operator, who was a firefighter Logan Board, says, hey, drop that line. And why did he do that? Because we've trained on that. So, hey man, that line's no good anymore, new line. So the nozzleman ends up pulling the red line, which is our combination line. Our combination line doesn't flow as much as the 1 3/4, but it still flows water, right? So it's not the most ideal situation. It's not the best weapon of choice. It is a weapon, and that's the one we got. So he was able to get that in service. That was that delay. Once we got the line in service, our line was initially weak. So again, going back to the engine operator, one of the things that we need to be making sure is that as operators, we're chasing that line. I didn't get a chance to look at it, but I bet you there was a few kinks in that line because of where we positioned and where the fire is, right? So we got to eat up this 200 feet of line in 40 feet of space. So a lot of kinks, not great, but we do get some water on a fire and we get it rectified pretty quick. So have contingencies in place, have trains with that, because we could, as company officers, sit there and freak out and start yelling and screaming, but that's what's known as not helping, right? So all this goes towards what we call the zero impact period. That's a buzzword around the fire service right now, where we're on scene, but actually nothing good has happened, right? So until we make entry into that building or until we get water on fire, nothing's happening to make that incident better. We're here, we're getting off, we're getting things set up, but that's really not helping. So the faster we can get water on fire, the faster we can make entry to start mitigating the incident, that's minimizing that zero impact period. So don't freak out when the wrong line gets pulled, or don't freak out when it goes the wrong way. Simply roll with the changes. Just like Chief Tully kind of indicated, hey, he had a plan that we're going to put this out, but now we're rolling with the changes. Strategic shift. So our strategy and tactics, we have to get a line inside, right? So even though we got a really heavy fire, it's got to go inside because it is still a valid tactic to get water between victims and fire. And until we get a line to the interior, we can't complete good searches. What that does is it prioritizes life safety, right? So am I an advocate for searching ahead of a hose line? Absolutely, right? We can absolutely do that. However, in this case, what we have here is we have a choice. As a 3-person engine company pulling up, we can pick either search or we can pick fire attack. You cannot adequately pick both. So when we have more fire or potentially more victims than resources, i.e. there could be 60 people in this building and there's only 3 of us on scene, water is the appropriate choice. If we have one person on a balcony and everybody else is out, they're hanging out of a window, then maybe search is the better, priority here. But the point is that you have to pick a plan and go with that plan. You cannot do both because then neither one happens well. So in this case, prioritize fire attack by getting water on fire. That will buy time for search. Remember that we can have isolatable spaces. We can put people into bedrooms. We can ventilate ahead. And we can do all these things to help mitigate the incident and kind of do shelter in place and things like that. The bulk of the fire problem is on one side of the 2nd floor and the 3rd floor. So that 1st floor is completely tenable. But by getting a line to the interior, we bought time for the 5s to complete their search. We bought time for everyone else to complete their searches, get that all clear, and then thus force that strategic shift again. So that's the kind of the nuts and bolts of it. So again, this was a perfect example of a shift in tactics and strategy. So again, hats off to Chief Tully and also to all the mutual aid chiefs that showed up and kind of helped drive that operation. This is exactly how it's supposed to go. PARs in place, good command and control, good span of control. Our all clears were confirmed, then we shift to defensive operations. Once we get a handle on it, right, we get this thing kind of wrangled, we'll go back to offensive application. However, what are the big hazards when we go from defensive back to offensive? Water weight. Water weight, right?
Again, yeah.
So, hey, man, you know, every gallon of water is 8.3 pounds. Well, we just put a lot more than 8.3 pounds on that building. That's already compromised by fire. So even though we're going back to offensive and committing to the interior, there was some not disagreement, but some very good discussion on scene of when do we commit to the interior and how we're gonna do that. That was why we were having people go up via ground ladder versus the interior, because we were worried about that chimney. And once we got eyes on it, like, okay, we're actually good, this is structurally sound relatively, then we can continue to kind of build back on that. So that's what was kind of related to that. Not only is it the actual weight of the water, but also the weight of you, right? How many firefighters is it gonna take per floor to pull all that ceiling down and expose all those hidden pockets of fire? So there's a lot that goes into that. It's already weakened. To Chief Tully's point, we look at line of duty deaths, and we look at these risk factors, and we don't want to be caught with our pants down with something that's relatively preventable in hindsight. So that's why we look at these things before we start committing back to an all or nothing operation. So overall, this was a well-involved fire on dispatch with conflicting addresses, right? Where are we going? 8236 Meeting Street, 6903 Founders, Lakeside, Squirrel's Nest, Gray Fox, like, you know, there's a bunch of streets up there, and potentially three working fires, right? Because no one can give us an actual address or speak clearly. There was some traffic reported in CAD, you saw in the body cam that, they were reporting people still inside. And, at the end of the day, it's an apartment building at midnight. There's people inside, until proven otherwise. So we have a quick and effective advance of attack lines. We would kind of hit that. We did that strategic shift once the fire was brought under control, and then the multiple mutual aid units, I think, worked very, very seamless together. We've fortunately or unfortunately had enough of these incidents where everyone kind of understands what we're doing. With the automatic aid that's going on, that wasn't here 10 years ago. We're working very, very well together, especially when we start reach down to that third alarm. Chris, you want to talk about the third alarm issue a little bit here?
Just with the new CAD, the run card wasn't set up correctly for the third alarm. It sounds like it's possibly, it's a work in progress at this point, but I guess it has to do with the third set, I guess, as far as where the issue was. So we went to a laminated card with all of our units in order and dry erase marker, and went down the line and make sure we got everybody lined up, and then went from that point forward.
Yeah, absolutely, right? So again, like, we have this CAD system and it's supposed to be integrated and supposed to do this and supposed to do that, but at the end of the day, like, we have a job that needs to get done, and it can't get done if not everyone's on the same page. So again, back to 7Com being able to quickly shift in their own world of like, all right, plan A is not working. Let's go to plan B, which was, let's go back to pen and paper. And being able to have to call Hamilton County Comm Center, Warren County Comm Center, City of Monroe, City of Cincinnati, and explain, I need this right now to here. While taking other 911 calls, right? Like, this fire's going on. We make 9,000 calls a year. The police do like 18,000 calls a year. Like, there's still traffic pursuits. There's still things going on. So on top of all that and all the radio traffic, like, they manage this terrifically. So again, hats off to you guys. So the positives of this, right? Great use of a fast and aggressive line placement, right? So goes the first line, so goes the fire. We did that aggressive search. We put the apartment load in service, 3 months ago? So for our mutual aid partners.
It was that long.
Yeah, maybe not even that long, right? So prior to this, if we were to get this fire in January, right, or last October, we would have had to take our high-rise packs, which are just bundles, connect them up, connect them to other bundles, stretch them out, and then flow water, which we've done before. We've done that for years and it works. But the longer we have to make connections and the longer we have to do that, takes longer to get water on fire. So what we did was we bundled 100 feet of 1 3/4 with a reducer or with an increaser to 2.5, and it's a dead load line. So it can be 200 feet, 100 feet, 400 feet, right? It's however far you want to stretch. We just completed in-service training on this within the last 90 days. And with the intent that, hey, there's a couple apartment complexes, this being one of them, where this is going to be a huge deal with us. And so we proved the effectiveness of it, right? We showed that, hey, stretching that line does well. Now, with that being said, discussion of stretching dry versus stretching wet. We have to match the incident dynamics with common sense firefighting. Knowing this building, which is a huge component to our department and a huge benefit to us, is that we know these buildings. We know that if you try to stretch this line wet with 2 guys to the 3rd floor around 18 turns, that's not gonna work. What we ended up doing with this is we stretched the apartment load to the 2nd floor dry, broke it, advanced it to the 3rd floor dry, stretched it all out, and then called for water. And the reason we do that, or did that, is because that hallway and that center stairwell is 20 feet wide at most, around in a U-shaped thing. It's a very goofy setup. You would think of like long hallways in an apartment, not this one. This is like trying to stretch 200 feet of line inside of a box, a very small box. So that's where you hear calling for water. Knowing, again, fire dynamics, hey, we're potentially in a bad spot, right? We just stretched a dry line into fire conditions. Yep, did that. But the opposite is also true. If we would have charged on the 2nd floor and tried to advance it up with just 2 guys, we're probably gonna get stalled in the stairwell. So we gotta match and know what your capabilities are. With my nozzle firefighter and with the engine crew that I had, I knew that we could make this work. I also felt comfortable with the fire conditions that we presented because we darkened enough down. So was my thought process on that. You know, I'll take any discussion on that.
I talked to Sean about this, he's not here today, but since he said you guys decided to break that apartment load on the 2nd floor. When we were doing some experiments with that apartment load up at Union Station in that specific style of apartment, we found that it's actually better to break it right outside at the front door. And you just stretch that one line straight up the stairs.
A well stretch?
Essentially a well stretch, and you can get straight up there very easy, and it eliminates those kinks and those things in the hallway on the floor. So for future reference, you can break that directly outside, right outside that front door, and stretch that hose straight up, and you got access to all 4 apartments on that 3rd floor. So we tested it, we know you can do it. So just keep that in mind.
And there's further training coming with this, right? Obviously, not only just from this incident, but because just get hands-on and get comfortable with it. But yeah, right, so that's terrific experimentation to know, right? Again, excellent ICS structure, and as we're starting to integrate our blue card modeling, right, units level 1. So did we deviate? Sure. Right, but a lot of, remember that our level 1 is not, you know, hit the parking brake and call level 1, right? We're calling level 1 on the road. Further out units, obviously, are probably hitting the parking brake, and it became super necessary in this because just our vehicle positioning. Trying to get units into this apartment complex and get around, it ended up working superbly, right, at the end of the day. But being able to put those division group supervisors in, maintain that span of control. Again, going back 10 years, if you can imagine trying to manage 40 companies with just 1 guy, which is what we would have done. And actually, good luck if we didn't call mutual aid back then. We would just kept going bottle after bottle, cycle after cycle. So.
And someone would have got hurt.
And more people would have got hurt.
Yeah.
So this was the reason that we put so many chiefs, and I was one of them too, that would always kind of bitch and moan like, why are all these chiefs coming to the fire? For this reason right here, right? So that we have adequate supervision, safety officers, in place so that we can keep all eyes on this. This is an incident that's completely gonna overwhelm one person sitting in a car. We need forward observers to, allow guys to work, right? And this is an example of where aggressive command met aggressive fire operations. And again, we talked about using that for span of control. So again, we got all sides of the building covered with apparatus. So we got the Alpha and Charlie covered. Tower 52 and ladder 75 were able to take the Alpha side. Engine 71 was able to pull past to allow room for that. So there's a question, why don't we use the deck gun and darken this down? Would have blocked out ladders, like at the end of the day. So Could we have done a blitz attack and moved on? No, like with how fast our units get there and stuff like that, that's just not really an option for us in this instant. So we were able to pull past C3 sides, and that left room for aerials. And then Tower 73 was able to get through that back, second entrance and cover the Charlie side. So we had very good apparatus placement with their own independent water supplies, which is typically unheard of in some of these complexes. We had 4 water supplies taken, so engine 71 was on their own hydrant, ladder 75 had their own hydrant, coming in from the street. Tower 52 was supplied with their own hydrant, and Tower 73 was on theirs. So we had no issues with water. Now, I put this bullet of be cautious on this, because what's the odds that we could take 4 water supplies and not damage a main? Damn near zero, right? So usually in a complex, when we start taking multiple water supplies, what happens to the domestic pressure?
Goes up.
Yeah, it
It
plummets.
actually went up.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
so whatever was going on, right, it was just kind of goofy that we were able to take this, right? Usually this is where, hey, our supply overall is gonna start to decrease, and now we start kind of robbing each other. But go figure, in the most goofy building that we probably have to fight a fire in, we also have the best friggin' water pressure that we've ever seen in our lives.
Well, what we ended up doing is actually flooding all the hot water heaters in the entire complex. That, for whatever reason, once we started flowing, it pulled more water, almost like Venturi effect, I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Didn't it happen another?
it happened the last time you guys, they had a fire up there,
Yeah.
So yeah, every time we take hydrants in this facility, every water heater in the building blows out, and also it trips a fire alarm across the street. So we know that, right? Because we've done it before, but it's just one of those weird things. Typically, you would expect this to go down, and the bigger it goes up. We staged units, right? So units, that second alarm and third alarm.
District 30 helped out with that drastically.
Absolutely, right? So keeping units on Sunday, especially when you're coming from, not necessarily our periphery, right? Our normal mutual aid partners, like, where the hell do we stage at? Well, we had that, and then just bring in units into the scene. They might have to hike a bit, but at the end of the day, they're doing, like Chief Tully said, one work cycle and leave. So this worked extremely well. We had a firefighter injury, right? So my nozzleman went to the hospital. It was tended to and handled. And again, hats off to paramedic Whitty and the crew of Medic 75 for handling that. So they were able to kind of tend to him, make sure that he was taken care of. And even though, like, he wants to get back into the fight and he thinks he's good, they have eyes on from a safety standpoint of like, no, you're actually not. Let's go to the hospital. At this point in the incident, we have plenty of resources there. So it is okay, right? And even we had Whitty and I had a conversation like, is he good? He's like, let's take him offline. No problem, right? So I'm glad that conversation happened on top of civilian injuries, right? Anytime we have one of our guys goes to the hospital, it can absolutely derail an incident. And this was just another thing that was handled, satellite to everything else going on. So again, another incident complexity to it. And he ended up being fine. He's back to work. He's doing great. And then we had some salvageable property, right? So, while we flooded this building and blew out all the water heaters, there was still stuff we saved. And at the end of the day, like, should we risk our lives to save property? Yes, like that's kind of what we're here for, right? Risk our life? No, but can we take a calculated and measurable risk to save people's stuff? Yeah, that's what they pay us for. And we did. We took those calculated, measured risks. We were able to get a lot of their stuff out. And the people up there are eternally grateful for the work that you guys and the work that we did on this. So that was, again, hats off to us. So those are some of the many positives we were able to pull out of it. Chief Hannafin couldn't be here, but here's thoughts. Again, the excellent critical decision-making on the strategy change. He commented that there's never been a line of duty death for coming out of the building 2 minutes too early. Right, so when it was kind of seemed like, hey, let's do that restructuring, that strategic shift, come on out, right? And it was totally fine. He's working on the third alarm issues with CAD. Staff car locations should be off the street or in parking spaces or somewhere else. So some of the issues were apparatus coming in. As mutual aid chiefs, and even now that I have a staff car, I got to remember this too, of like, where do I go? Sometimes those are not in the most ideal places. One of the staff cars ended up right next to the fire building, covered in mulch. So, but beach them, right? Like that's what they're here for. Get out of the way. We need the important trucks near the scene, which are engines and ladders. And I would say of those two, it's ladders, right? You can stretch more hose, but you cannot make that ladder grow longer. So get ladders close to the building, get staff cars and medic units out of the way. You saw that the police officer was very good about getting his car out of the way.
That's
and
a
leaving
change,
things open.
that's great, yeah.
Absolutely a change. So again, hats off to RPD for that as well.
Yeah, we've done extensive trainings with them to help with that, and they have taken it to note, obviously.
So some concerns, and then we'll open it up for kind of general discussion, right? So again, so goes the first line, so goes the fire. So again, stretch lines, right? If you're struggling on what to do today, stretch lines, right? Pre-connect stretches, they're easy, they're simple. They might be boring or repetitious, but that's because we need to train not to get it right, but train so you can't get it wrong. That's a line from Lieutenant Newland, and that's a line from some of the books that he reads, and I can't say it any better than he does with that, right? It's not that I didn't have to worry about that line because I know that we've stretched that line before. I know we've stretched that line more than once. So while we're sitting here and we're TikToking and we're complaining about what's going on, maybe we should take 30 minutes and go out and stretch a line. And when that line goes wrong, let's keep pushing forward. We can't get stuck in a cycle of like, oh, it didn't go the way I wanted it to. Well, you're right, but we'll deal with that later. So the fact is that we were able to quickly recover from this, grab a new line, get it in service, and get water on fire. That being said, fitness matters, right? So as Chief Tully alluded to, we were on our own for a bit. There's two companies on scene for that volume of fire with that amount of work. That's why we do fitness drills. That's why we advocate for fitness efficiency. Because at the end of the day, your fitness and wellness is going to directly impact the citizens of this town that you've sworn to save. So you need to be prepared to do heavy work for 15, 20 minutes, like right now. And remember, this came in just after midnight, so none of us were up CrossFitting. We were all in bed, heart rates down.
Logan might have been.
Yeah, Logan might have been. Actually, I think you actually was. But we need to be, we're coming out of bed, and in 4 minutes time, 6 minutes time, we're gonna be in absolute fire combat. This is the big one. This is that big fire. Multifamily fire at night with entrapment. We have to be prepared for this call. It is coming, it will come again. So take yourself seriously and train on that, right? I'm not saying that it's gonna be a bodybuilder or anything else, but you have to be prepared. So if you're heavy into the cheeseburgers and fries, once in a while, switch to a salad. Know your hydration, know your limits, right? Because it absolutely matters when we start getting up there. This is heavy work. Moving a line with two guys to the third floor in these kind of conditions is heavy, heavy work. Again, we talked about the staff car placement, get out of the damn way. Train and set up aerials, right? So ladder 75 was in a different truck. They did fine, right? The ladder pipes got up, but in this case, the ladders are gonna be a little short. So not saying there was a thing with this, but hey, with a 75-foot ladder, is there a better place to position? In this case, no, because there's a giant tree on fire in the way where they would like to put the ladder. But be proficient in aiming ladder pipes. When the ladder pipes started flowing, they started overshooting. So our aerial operators, we kind of rely on them to be Johnny on the spot with that placement. So where those nozzles are aimed and where that ladder goes, be proficient in aiming. How do you get better at it? Set up your trucks. Right, on alarm drops, set them up, right? So what's the harm in putting the ladder to the roof and taking it back down, right? If anything, it's a good photo op. Again, know your limitations and check the ego. And this one's for me as well, right? So like, hey, can we go back in? Can we go back in? Can we go back in? And also to the firefighter that was injured, right? Check the ego, like, because he wants to get back into the game too. Like, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Well, you're good until you're not. And I have to realize that. He has to realize that, and that's why, again, hats off to Medic 75 for understanding that, hey, he's not good, right? He looks good, he sounds good, he's talking, he's alert, he's walking around, but he's not good. So being able to check the ego, and also to check the ego with tactics, right? We can push, keep sending trucks, keep sending crews, keep sending lines in, but at the end of the day, hey, what's the life hazard here now? It's us. And so we did that shift. And that's a terrific way to again, stay, to check the ego, to realize we'll be fine. Our training with mutual aid companies goes a long way. So we've seen that, and that's why our performance is good. and then we had our discussion on wet versus dry. We'll open it up to anybody else, their perspectives and things, and,
I'll go down the list just to, so that, or they don't all come in at once.
Twos, you got anything?
I think we're good.
Was there any discussion about wearing an air pack, masked up and everything if you're in on the fire floor?
No, go ahead.
That's my question. Shouldn't chief officers be wearing air packs and masked up if they're on the third floor? On the
Yes,
fire?
yes, they should.
So, again, you know, if you can elaborate, so when I came out of the third floor, and met with Chief 72, he was in an air pack and on air and everything else, so, if that changed, like, you know, go ahead and elaborate.
When we ran into him, he was not masked up, and you could hear it on the radio traffic. His voice was clear. But I just think that just needs to be brought up that if you're gonna be on the fire floor, you need to be masked up and ready for anything, especially since how we ended up evacuating the building.
Yes, you are absolutely right, Mobley.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, when I saw him, he was, so, you know, whether he DC'd his stuff to make that radio transmission, I don't know, I didn't have that perspective, but thank you for bringing that up, right? That's why we have these, right? So absolutely. And that goes for any chief officer, right? That goes for me as well, right? If I show up now, and I'm inside, right, and you're all operating in an IDLH environment, I need to be masked up, right? So, you know, we're everybody's safety officer, right? It's good. I see, 33 is on there. You guys got anything? Hearing none. 52s? All right, go down the list. Deerfield?
We're good, thanks.
Thank you, guys. Fives? I saw on. Yeah, they are. Fours?
No, Brandon already, and you touched on the whole level one thing. We kind of got skipped over. And then the whole water supply request kind of put us, it delayed us because we were assuming a fifth due arrival. And hydrants probably already taken care of. So we were essentially walking up to get, work. And then Brandon gave us an assignment to get a hydrant, and we had to back up 300 feet and then forward lay. And then our really used at that point.
Right,
So
the thought on that, Ryan, is, who knew what was gonna happen? And I just wanted as many water sources as possible, so when you are coming into something like that, spot your truck next to a hydrant. So that if I do have to have that request, then you could just easily bring it right in.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but like I said, I was assuming we were about, based on the radio traffic.
Yeah.
We're about fifth due, so I'm like, we're probably just gonna go to work.
Ryan, you bring up a great point about the fifth due. So to our mutual aid partners, we are implementing Blue Card to an extent. So like everybody else, right, you either do Blue Card or you kind of do their own version. We do our own version as well. We have pre-arrival assignments. I think everybody kind of understands that, where first due's fire attack. Well, now with these multifamilies, our first and second due companies marry up for fire attack, and then our third and fourth due companies marry up for search. However, that policy that we have in our pre-arrival assignments is terrific when we're dealing with Westchester. Naturally, and somehow you guys seem to be getting the active 911 before we do. When that plan goes awry because, hey, the first and second due companies is one Westchester unit and one mutual aid unit, that might change, right? So, again, our ability to work together and work fluidly through these situations is terrific, but just understand that, like, we don't care, like who's running command or what truck gets there first. Like, that's not gonna, we'll have another fire. But understand that like our fifth due assignment is typically RIT. Well, again, that doesn't really work with our third due is a Springdale unit, who's coming into level 1. So we're working through these kind of nuances with it. We have no problem throwing our, companies into this. Our policy is very scripted, but, one thing that we've identified is like, well, it doesn't really take into account what happens when it's a mutual aid unit. For our incident command side, we'll just give you that assignment. But like when we're saying 4th through 5th due responsibilities, that's very Westchester centric. So thank you for bringing that up, Ryan. Threes.
Yeah, just real quickly, I'll try to make an explanation with no real explanation. As it was mentioned, Tower 73 was assigned to the 2nd floor on our arrival. That was an order that I heard clearly, and my backstep heard it clearly as well. Somewhere in between us getting to what we're calling the alpha side of the building, we found a charged hand line. The 112s were there. They had been given the task to help get a line in place on the 3rd floor. And we started stretching that hose line. It was a charged line and it went extremely smooth, extremely fast. And like I said, I think there were just a lot of small things that happened, and both my backstep and myself, believe it or not, we lost counting to 2. And we made it to 3. We operated on the 3rd floor the entire time we were there, under the impression we were on the 2nd floor. And it wasn't until we entered the building for a second time during salvage and overhaul operations that we looked at each other and realized that we had been on the wrong floor the entire time. So we did do a lot of work on the 3rd floor, so it's not like that was wasted manpower. But as it was mentioned before, that did leave the 2nd floor open. I take, full responsibility for that. And then in discussions that I've had both with my crew and others, for me, probably the scariest part about that is, had I gotten into trouble or my backstep gotten into trouble, I would have called for help and I would have said, we're on the 2nd floor, come get us. And we were not on the 2nd floor. So it without a doubt is something that I'll pay better attention to in the future. Like I said, I have no real explanation as to why it happened. It just did.
I know I was appreciative to see it because I turned over the 3rd floor to you. But as you know, like being inside with water flowing and this and that and radio traffic, like it just gets lost in the shuffle, right? So thank you for bringing that up. Like I said, I know you did work on the 3rd floor because I turned over the 3rd floor to you. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, what do you count? Now, the good news is there's enough other people up there to pull you out if something went wrong. But that is a huge thing, right? Is communication errors. And I've been on the receiving end of that as well of another fire off Fountains Boulevard where, hey, your guy just gets kind of sucked into the fold and, it can happen. So just, heads on a swivel. And again, that's why we do this aggressive command presence, because they're there to kind of help manage that, right? So very good. Anything else for the good of the order? Is Chief Williams still on there?
He got off.
Sharonville? You guys got anything?
Nope, we're good.
Well, that being said, guys, thank you so much for taking your afternoon and tuning into this. Apologize about Oh, go ahead.
Was there any discussion about Alpha and Charlie and the address side of the building and that stuff?
No, go ahead.
Well, where we parked.
Yeah.
By the book is technically the Alpha side of the building. 69 Road. The front door faces Founders Road. Technically.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Like we never really designated through the radio traffic, like in my head, like I consider I'm on the alpha side, but you're right, like I'm on the back side of the Founders Row building. And I think the reason that happened, just like, shooting from the hip here, is that it came in as a Meeting Street address and then it was updated to Founders Row and this and that. So I just, in my head, kind of tunnel vision to Meeting Street. So I just assumed because I'm on meeting, this must be alpha. And command is now set up here. But you're right, we never truly designated that this is the alpha side.
Right.
And now what would normally be alpha is now Charlie. It's flip flopped. And that, you're absolutely right, because that, when we start setting up sectors and divisions, it's gonna be reversed. So we have to all be on the same page of that. 100%. Thank you for bringing that up.
Especially, Mike is right to bring that up, especially there, because a lot of those Founders Rows do face Meeting Street and you don't know which one is which. So, yep, he's right.
Absolutely right. All right. Anything else?
Yeah, Trevor, sorry. We kind of pulled, you talk about how this complex and all these buildings, they are all different layouts, different stairwell arrangements. And we pulled a pre-plan this morning just so I could show my guys over here. And if you pull it out and look at it, the spreadsheet that kind of breaks down all the addresses and units, all of the unit numbers are 100 series numbers. So where you would think in a typical apartment building where 100s is first floor, 200s is second floor, so on and so forth. That is not the case here. Everything is going to have a 100 number to it. So don't hear 109 and just think, oh, I'm going to the first floor, because you might not. The numbering system is all over the place.
Yeah, it's terrible. I know we spent probably 10 minutes, Chief Williams and I, trying to find apartment 102 on the first floor, which is not what you would think it would be.
It's one of the options.
So it's just, it's good, especially the guys at the ones. Just go up there one day when hopefully we don't have a lot going on and just walk around some of those buildings. They're eye openers for sure. Some have private entrances, some have common stairwells, some are that, like you said, the ones that have their 2-story units that encompasses the second and third floor. Yeah, they're something else.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well,
Yeah.
like I said, go ahead.
I got a few things. I signed in off duty so I could make a few pointers from
Absolutely.
the EMS standpoint that we had. Do you care if I share my screen?
Go ahead, man. Go figure that out.
What other person? You'll have to unshare for me to do it.
You gotta stop your share at the top. Go ahead.
You guys see that?
Yeah.
All right, so I was Medic 74 with Dustin. And a thing that we hit, a lot of you guys couldn't see because you were doing the firefighting work. Vehicle positioning when it came to second and a third alarm ended up getting really weird. And I also think we would benefited highly with an actual like EMS chief designation on this call. So when we came in this Meeting Street, and you had all 3 of our medic units were parked here on the same side of the road, leaving all of this space for us to turn around to go out should we get a victim, which we did. So when we got called, and this was before we took Joey to the hospital, our first patient was over here. By the time we got to it, it's 10 minutes later-ish, because Tower 112 blocked this entrance. One of the other medic units, instead of staying in line with our medics, parked directly across from one. So this whole area got shut down because of that. And then once we finally had a unit move that medic unit, that tower, I had to move a medic to get out. Now on Fountains Boulevard, we had, instead of all units in one lane, we had units crisscross stacked for whatever reason there, making it really difficult to get to this area. So EMS chief or someone that was higher ranked in charge to coordinate all that, there were 3 medic units already over here that could have treated that guy. And that medic unit ended up taking that person to the hospital. And then in order for me and Dustin to get back, again, had to weave through a bunch of units to get over here. And once we finally got called for Joey, same thing. I mean, a bunch of stuff blocking us on this area with hose and all that. And there was 2 medic units that technically were EMS. We should have been assigned rehab that were right next to Joey, with 2 more medic units over there would have been better access for him, instead of us trying to get to him and figure out how to get him out.
I do know, DZ, when they called for the victim, they said it was at the front of the building too. And where you're pointing where he was is definitely not the front of the building.
So I'm just telling you where I went.
Yeah.
The guy that we treated was right here.
Yep.
And then a second person we came and talked to was right next to your command vehicle.
Okay.
And when we talked to that guy, that's when that big bank of smoke came down.
Yeah.
So all of our units without packs on and a bunch of residents standing right there all got hit with high levels of smoke at the same time. And then after him, that's when we, a couple minutes later, got the call for Joey.
So that's also something to think about is when those master streams going, they are going to bank down that smoke. So, obviously you heard me say, make sure that the collapse zone was cleared, but that's something again that you're going to have to think about. All that smoke is going to come down too. I don't think any of us anticipated that much smoke coming down, but obviously that just shows how much fire there still was in that attic space. And that did get pushed down. I definitely hear you about the EMS. I will say from my perspective, probably I got maybe a little too involved in the fire aspect and you kind of lose track of the EMS portion a little bit. So that's something I will take myself and learn from that and try to get better about that as well.
Speaking of the smoke, remember that, we have the toxic exposure forms. Those are there for your benefit. I know I sent it out to all my guys on this fire. But I highly encourage all company officers to do that. Send out the toxic exposure form because, hey man, even just that byproduct, right? That you get hit by that. What does that do in the long term? Realistically, like we know there's cancer causing agents stuff, but it just helps solidify your case. God forbid something happens, right? And we've seen what occupational cancer does in our organization, right? So, fill out those toxic exposure forms that they're so important to your health at the end of the day. Thank you, Ben. Anything else?
Yeah, I mean, it's just that main point of that's an incident with that loop system, that vehicle positioning, especially if you're parking a vehicle to walk to the scene, that inhibited a lot of our stuff with people crisscrossing and not just lining up on that kind of incident, especially if we're going to push for it if we ever get an actual high rise fire, how much more important it's going to be then. We got to practice it when we can and fix it when we can.
Yep.
Agreed. All right. Like I said, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. I'll go ahead and stop the recording and we'll end this. For anybody that was off, you want to share this will be available on Fire Rescue One sometime next week. So we'll push it out to you guys. And again, mutual aid partners, if you want a copy of this, just send me an email on that group chain that we made and I'll send it to you, man. So thank you all and have a great day.